The best way to increase productivity is to say no by James Clear. Decision-making life lessons. The best way to improve productivity is to say no. Not doing something will always be faster than doing it. This reminds me of an old programming saying. Remember that there is no code faster than no code at all. The same philosophy applies to other areas of life. For instance, no meeting goes faster than not having a meeting at all. This doesn't mean you should never attend another meeting, but the reality is that we say yes to too many things we don't really want to do. There are many meetings held that don't need to happen. There is a lot of code written that could be deleted. How often do people ask you to do something, and you simply reply sure? And 3 days later you're overwhelmed by the many tasks on your to-do list and frustrated with your commitments despite being the one who agreed to them in the first place. It's worth asking ourselves if things are necessary. Many are not, and a simple no would be more productive than any effort the most efficient person could muster. But if the benefits of saying no are so obvious, why do we say yes so often? Why we say yes? We accept many requests not because we want to, but because we don't want to be seen as rude or uncooperative. You often have to consider the refusal of a request from someone you will interact with again in the future, a coworker, spouse, family, or friends. Turning down such people can be particularly tough because we care for them and want to support them, not to mention we often need their help too. Cooperation with others is an important part of life. The idea of straining the relationship trumps our commitment to our own time and energy. For this reason, it's helpful to be polite in your response. Do your best to be friendly and direct when you have to say no. Even after accounting for these social considerations, many of us still fail to strike a balance between rejection and acceptance. We find ourselves overcommit to things that do not improve or tangibly support those around us, and certainly don't improve our own lives. Perhaps one issue is how we think about the meaning of yes and no. The difference between yes and no. Yes and no are often treated as opposites and thus given equal weight in conversation, but they are not just opposites, they are fundamentally different in terms of commitment. When you say no, you are only saying no to one option. When you say yes, you are saying no to every other option. I like how economist Tim Harford puts it: in every single yes, there is an embedded no to everything else you might accomplish with that time. Once you commit to something, you've already decided how that future block of time will be spent. In other words, saying no saves you time in the future, while saying yes costs you time in the future. No is a decision, yes is a responsibility. The role of no, saying no, is sometimes seen as a luxury that only the powerful can afford. This is true. Turning down opportunities becomes easier when you can fall back on the safety net that power, money, and authority provide. But it's also true that saying no is not just a privilege reserved for the successful among us, but also a strategy that can help you become successful. Saying no is an important skill to develop at any stage of your career because it preserves the most important asset in life: your time. As investor Pedro Sorrentino puts it, if you don't guard your time, people will steal it from you. You should say no to anything that does not lead you toward your goals.